Imagine a quiet morning where the streets of New Orleans are filled with a strange tension. There is a smell of hatred in the air, and the sound of people screaming can be heard from far away. While most 6-year-old girls think about playing with their dolls, a little girl named Ruby Bridges was about to fight the biggest battle of her life. Ruby wore her best white dress and placed a large bow in her hair. She thought she was just going to her new school, but standing outside her house were 4 tall men in dark suits known as U.S. Marshals. Their job was to get Ruby to school safely because the entire city was standing against one small child. The old era. In the time Ruby was born, a person was valued by the color of their skin rather than their character. This system was called segregation, where there were separate schools for white people and separate broken schools for black people. In 1954, the Supreme Court ruled that there would be no more discrimination based on race, but the southern parts of America refused to listen. They created an extremely difficult test so that no black child could enter their schools, but Ruby passed that test. She was one of only 6 children who were given admission to William Frantz Elementary School, which was previously for white children only. The family decision. When Ruby's parents found out their daughter had passed the test, they felt more fear than joy. Ruby's father, Abin Bridges, knew this path was very dangerous, and he was afraid that people would hurt their family. But Ruby's mother, Lucille, was very firm in her resolve. She said, "We have to take this step not just for Ruby, but for all the children who will be born in future generations." Finally, they decided to send Ruby to school. On the day Ruby went to school, the federal government sent marshals for her protection, who told her, "Ruby, just look straight ahead and keep walking."
The loneliest classroom. As soon as Ruby entered the school, there was a strange sight. All the white parents were running out of the school with their children. Every teacher refused to teach Ruby, but there was only one teacher named Barbara Henry who agreed to teach her. Barbara Henry had moved from Boston, and she loved Ruby for her innocence rather than her skin color. For an entire year, it was just Ruby and her teacher in that whole school. There was no friend and no other child to play with. Ruby sat alone to eat her lunch and studied alone. She was not allowed to go to the playground because people had threatened to poison her. Prayer for the enemy. One day her teachers saw Ruby stop in front of the angry crowd, and her lips were moving. The teacher was afraid that Ruby was fighting with the people or talking back to them. When Ruby came inside, the teacher asked Ruby, "What were you saying to those people?" Ruby answered innocently that, "I was not talking to them, I was praying for them. I forgot to say my prayer this morning, so I stopped there to ask God for their forgiveness." This was Ruby Bridges, who answered hatred with love and prayer. Today, Ruby is a famous activist, and her courage changed the entire history of America. Her statue stands outside that school today, telling us that you do not have to be big to be brave, you just have to be on the right path.